Welcome back, you filthy exiles. So, for anyone following the stream, I finally decided to put this video together. I had a bit of time. So, I started off playing as Zerka as my second toon, and then I went, wait a minute, could we get the Jug to work? And there's a really cool node on that got reworked on the Jug Ascendancy that nobody's really talking about, considering like only 2% of people, or Jugs, and there's basically no one playing Jugs, are playing Shield Crush. And it scales perfectly for like Delve and stuff like that. So anyway, this is a Jug. Now this Jug does currently 6.47 million damage once it's juiced up. Our target POB, which we're not far off of, will do 12 million DPS. The Jug currently, as it is, does a little more damage than that because I managed to get Rage into this build. So where are you, Rage? There we go. I don't have Berserk up. With Berserk, it hits 9.1 million DPS. Now, you might be asking, well, you know, why is this significant? Well, it's a Jug number 1, number 2. The node that was changed this league was unbreakable. And what it basically meant was armor received from your body armor is double. Well, this is even better when you're running a brass dome. Yeah, significantly better considering we get 3,800 armor times 2. And then beyond that, it actually converts our elemental, or 8% of our armor applies to fire, cold, light, and lightning damage from hits. Which basically means in Delve, if you've got overcapped resistances like my character currently does, and then beyond that you've also got, you know, around nearly max, complete max block, there's a fair bit of mitigation. And currently the POB that I'm working with, we're looking at effective hit pool for life, 157,000 effective life, hit pool. This is without actually having, anything like Mage Blood or anything like that. We have 244,000 or about 220,000 average elemental on hit damage that we can take. And we're running around with just about, 86,000 armor, without even blinking an eye. Overcapped reses, max block, a little bit of spell suppression, pretty much just an absolute meat bag of a character. Now we only have 4.1 thousand HP, but that's fine. This is only level 93. Now, the POB that I'll show you, which will be in the description, which is the target POB, I actually had to play around with this as well. We can actually push this up. If we go, instead of going Dread Banner, we go Arctic Armor. We can do something really crazy, and we can get up to like, 400 as a high cap, 426,000, overall, damage reduction, which is just absolutely ridiculous. But we're going to run Dread Banner on this because we want big meaty ass damage. But anyway, we'll talk about that tree at the very end. So yeah, this build, the Jug, literally my new favorite toon right now. I've been rolling this around in Delve, and I'm going to be pushing low Delve with this, or deep Delve with this. I'm already up to like 350 or something like that, and this is just like walking through Delve. Some other things that make this build significant as well. So I managed to squeeze in Fortify. It has 100% chance to hit, so we're stacking a bit of accuracy. Its attack speed or attack rate, once we get everything up, less Berserk, is 7.6 attacks per second, 616% crit multi. Oh, sorry. Wrong tree. I've got a lot of shit going on here. 7.28 attacks per second, 88% crit, and this is without the additional nodes that I need. There's no Berserk on this. We go up to 8.6 attacks per second. This is like without Blitz or anything like that, so no need to go like crazy. And then basically, and this is with 60 rage stacks, so as you ramp up in maps. And then some other stats that sort of come out of this build is obviously, what else have we got here? We've got a chance to impale. Well, once we're pretty much hitting things, we have like 60% chance from our chest, so, we have a lot more chance, 90% chance to impale. We've got to be on the right thing to do it. So we're always impaling, and then once we get Dread Banner into the build, and that'll be a future video, I'll show you guys how to do that, then basically 100% impale, and just impale absolutely everything, and if we can get additional impale on a Watcher's Eye, even bigger damage. And then basically, yeah, huge crit multi, huge everything, huge APS or attacks per second. And then, yeah, we're just going to do tons of damage and roll through the entire game. Now, some of the other things to be explained in this build as to where the damage is actually coming from is actually from the use of the Emperor's Vigilance. And the reason why this shield is so damn powerful is, number one, it's automatic glancing blows, which is what gets us up to max block. Be it, you know, glancing blows, max block. It means you don't have to fuck around with trying to get to max block, or you don't have to take that stupid versatility node, versatile combatant node down here, which gives you 50%, but, you know, it's not really true max block. So you're getting to a max block stage. This shield has huge amounts of damage, and it also synergizes with two nodes on the tree, one being a jewel and one being an actual node, which is not really used on armor shield nodes. Now, take note, this shield has like 1835 armor, right? But it has energy shield on it, 383 energy shield to be precise. What makes this so powerful in this build is we actually use Seething Fury, wherever it is, there it is, which means that offhand critical strike multiplier is increased by 4% for every 10 maximum energy shield on your shield. So for every 10 energy shield I have on my shield, I'm getting 4% increased offhand critical strike multi. And we actually get to use the node on the tree, which gives us, where's the shield node? Shield, where are you? There it is. So we actually get to use the 1% to critical strike multiplier per 10 maximum shield on shield, which means we get 1.04% to critical multi per every 10 energy shield on our shield, and we have 383 energy shields, so multiply 1.04 by 38 and you pretty much get a shit ton of crit multi. Not to mention we're doing 100% crit, so we're just doing stupid amounts of crit, which is why this build is so fucking powerful. Basically, we're just absolutely abusing Emperor's Vigilance, and I gotta say, like, for a 10C shield, this is my new favorite shield. Other advantage of this shield, 21% spell block, which means we get 42% spell block, and the way that we push that up even further is we're actually using the Blue Nightmare because I use this in Delve, which gives us increased spell block from our Diamond Skinned over here, so we get another 5% spell block, with Glancing Blows translates to 10% spell block. And then we have a little bit of spell block in the actual build from running Prodigious Defense. So we get 6% spell block there. So we get to about 60% spell block, which is down there, which is pretty good. And then on top of that, we generate power charges from this Diamond Skin node because we have a 15% chance to gain a power charge on kill. Because we're a jug, we generate endurance charges from our Ascendancy. So we're pretty much always capped on endurance charges with unflinching, so we get constant endurance charges because we're always getting hit in Delve in particular, or maps, or from bosses. And then we generate frenzy charges from running a cast when damage taken Blood Rage. So we kill enemies, we get power charges, max frenzy charges, max power charges, and max endurance charges, which then gives us increased chaos resistance, completely overcaps all of our resistances, gives us regeneration to life, and gives us increased defense and damage reduction as well. Now, a couple of other sources which gives us even more crit, which is on the boots, is drops brittle ground while moved. And the way that you get this is you basically use the Searing Exarch, Embers, and you get in this case you get Grands, and you just slam it with Grands until you get this roll. And brittle just gives you a whole different level of damage, which results in you not having to run critical damage in your shield, in your actual setup, and we can switch out and run rage. So without brittle, we don't get to 100%. So I'll just pull this up. So right now we're on brittle ground. We're at 75%. We get like an extra, what's that? 13, 14% just straight up flat crit from having brittle on the ground, and we're always using brittle. And then we get our crit up by using Diamond Flask and whatever. That's basically the mechanics behind this build. Anyway, moral of the story, absolute shitload of damage. Now, another thing, if you guys follow my Crackling Lance build of where the damage comes from in this build, is we're absolutely abusing focus. So we're using focus gloves with attack speed, with implicit attack speed, so 21% attack speed. And then on top of that, we also have immunity to ailments while we're focused. So focus takes 8 seconds to cool down with 4 seconds up, which is quite significant. And then we're using the sword to get double damage while we're focused as well. And we're using a fractured sword, which is dirt cheap. And then we basically just rolled crit. We've already got crit multi on there, so we don't need to do anything with that. And then I managed to luck out with a T1 620 accuracy rating, which then synergizes with the Jugg's ascendancy for undeniable, which means you get 1% increased attack speed for every 150 accuracy rating that you get. So, you know, you get more attack speed out of your sword. So we don't need to run like a prismatic, was it prismatic, not eclipse? Anyway, whatever sword for attack speed. We just get it from stacking accuracy, double damage, and we get meaningful stats. This isn't the best sword that I could get. I could recraft this into a way better sword, but I'm just lazy and I want to get more jagged fossils before I do that. Anyway, beyond that, we also use the magnet. We buff up our determination with a corrupted version. We also have a chance to do double damage and a 5% chance to do triple damage, and we get a shitload of elemental resistances and huge flask charge generation, which is great in Delve. Perfect belt for this build. As you can see, we're balanced just over 409 strength as well. What all of that means is huge amounts of damage on a Jug, super tanky Jug, way better than playing it on the Berserker, and just as fast as the Berserker as well. Basically a concoction for what is, or what used to be called, the THICC JUGG. Anyway, that's my 11-minute intro to this video because it's a super exciting build and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So let's get into the POB, and then we'll talk about the build in more detail, and if you guys want to try it, this will sort of guide you on the right path. Okay, as per normal, I'll set this up so you guys can see what I'm doing. So, yep, 10 enemies around us. Cool, awesome, because we're in Delve, always have 10 enemies around. Okay, so this is a path of building, and we'll talk about the pathing very shortly, but the big thing is the configuration of where shit's coming from. So, power charge. So first of all, our Pantheons, we're using Lunaris, and this gives us huge amounts of damage reduction, especially in Delve. And Aberith, this gives us immunity to burning damage, so it's one less ailment we need to worry about dying to, because this doesn't do so well against poison. So we generate power charges, as discussed, from running our Blue Nightmare, and that generates it from having this Diamond Skin node. Beyond that, Frenzy charges from Blood Rage, which is set on cast when damage taken. We have Endurance charges as well, which is baked into the Ascendancy, as we can see here. So Unflinching gives us Endurance charges. Beyond that, we have Focus, because we have Focus on our gloves. Onslaught comes from our Onslaught Flask. We have Fortified because we take the point here that gives us Fortification. So Fortify Mastery merely hits Fortify, and we get like 23 levels of Fortify. So Fortify got buffed this league, so it's super powerful. We generate Rage because in our main skill we have Rage. So we generate Rage, and we actually have Anomalous Rage, which gives you 10% increased attack speed when you have a minimum of 20 Rage, which is pretty easy to generate in a map. We're leeching because we just have leech built into the build in many places and in the tree, so we do leech damage, which is about 200k. We're surrounded by a lot of enemies. We're in Delve. We're generally being hit recently, and this relies on being in Delve, so you're going to be killing shit a fair bit, and where max blocks are always blocking. Pride's on max effect, makes no, it does make a difference, but if you're in the vicinity of enemies, its effect will take place. Blood Stance, we pretty much exclusively Delve with Blood Stance, but if you're in Sand Stance, 5.3 mil while mapping isn't bad. Guardian Pinnacle damage, no other bullshittery in here. We're on brittle ground, as discussed, because of the boots that we're running that give us drops brittle ground while moving, lasting 4 seconds. So that's where that's coming from. And no other shit going on. We could have enemies at close range, but I don't think I have that actually. Do I? Yes, I do. So I actually have more damage than I thought. So like 6.8. That explains a hell of a lot. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the mechanics of the build. So I guess we'll talk about gearing, gems, and the skill tree, and then the future of where this build's going to go, because I'm really going to push the shit out of this build. It's freaking awesome. Okay, so gearing wise, so helm wise, you pretty much want anything with all resist. This is not the best helm that I could get, but it's a really good helm. The big things are like the implicits that you get from the Searing Exarch mods and things. So I have reduced life regeneration to enemies hit recently, and unique enemies in my presence allow me to regenerate 17% physical damage as life, or recouped as life. The Helm enchant 2, I have the Shield Crush attack speed. I find that to be a lot more accommodating for the Jug, because the Jug is a little bit less sort of good at balancing that, but you can do it through gear very easily. Sword, now, the biggie here is the sword actually has no damage. So you don't want to have like sword damage stats or damage stats on the sword, because it's not actually going to inflict damage. The things that are going to matter are global stats. So global stats like accuracy rating, crit strike multi, double damage while focused. Now, I'm not entirely sure about attack speed with the sword at this stage and whether or not it's global, but it's something that I'm going to experiment with sooner than later, so watch this space. The shield, obviously Emperor's Vigilance, as discussed at the start of the video. The ES scales out your crit multi, and it gives you glancing blows, huge amount of armor, huge amount of spell block. Basically the perfect shield. Now for my pardon me, for my amulet, I do have just an amulet to fill in the current time. I am going to upgrade this to an All's Uprising with a Pride roll on it. They're currently like 9 to 10x though, so I'm just farming it out, or I'll just farm it off Crystal King. The most important stats on here are all stats, but also Pride Reservation or Mana Reservation efficiency. It needs to be about 45% to 50%, which is about 10-20 chaos. It's pretty cheap. And then I have non-channeling skills. I have negative 7 mana cost. Chest piece, Brass Dome, best piece. Going to give you crazy armor. You'll be crit immune as well. So this is like damaged or defense layers on defense layers on defense layers. And it's going to overcap your resistances, so try and get a good one. I actually just bought this one outright, and then 6-socketed it and then 6-linked it. My recommendation is to just do it with the Benchcraft with like 1500 fusings, and that's going to be the easiest way. Or you can just chance it and like do it like me and do it within 20 fusings and just be super lucky. Rings, I am running just pretty much anything that gives me Chaos Res, life regeneration, total life or max life, and non-channeling skills have a negative mana cost. I did pick up a really good ring which gave me 92 cold resist from the Kalandra content, and this is pretty much giving me huge levels of mana regeneration, 160 health. These are pretty common to find, or you can pick them up for like 20 chaos or something like that. Gloves, this is going to be your focus gloves, similar to the Crack Lance build for anyone who follows my other builds. So attack and cast speed while focused, and then you map focus to your move button. And so that's pretty much always up as you're moving around. I did get implicits for 10% attack speed, and if you can try and get it with attack speed rolled on it, that's going to be a little hard, but it is doable. And then just life and any resistances that you need. I also have Mana Leech on this too, which is really useful. Belt, the magnet, to start with, you won't need a corrupted one, but if you can get a corrupted one with good rolls, even better. This is going to give you double damage, going to give you triple damage, and it's going to give you increased flask charge gain, all elemental resistances, and strength. Just overall, the upgrades to this belt were just second to none. It's the perfect belt now for this type of build. And then finally, boots. This I haven't got the right enchant on them yet, but I have 40% increased armor from my equipped helmet and gloves. I've got brittle, which gives me huge amounts of crit. I've got chaos res, movement, speed. I've got lightning res. I've got life on it. They're not the best rolls for life and everything else, but they're good enough. And the most important thing is you are immune to ailments while focused, which gives me ailment immunity, the really cheap and easy way, which is just from doing syndicate missions. For everything else, corrupted blood immunity with eternal life flask. I've got a quicksilver flask, which I switch out for either an amethyst flask or a quartz flask, depending on what I'm doing. So bossing, amethyst flask if I'm doing delve, quartz flask. Lion's Roar is actually way better than what the Bottled Faith is. Bottled Faith is actually really shit on this build. So don't get a Bottled Faith. It's more so directed at spellcaster builds. You're better off with a Lion's Roar, and it's got knockback, which is a good defensive stat. Diamond Flask, that gets your crit up to maximum, and I got one with attack speed while Flask effect is active, so that's going to increase your attack speed by 15%. And then obviously a Quicksilver Flask as well for Onslaught, which is really stinking useful. that's pretty much it for the gear. Really, really basic thing to gear, actually. And obviously the POB will be in the description for this. Okay, gem setups. So, helm, we're running Blood and Sand, Assassin's Mark with Mark on hit support, so we don't even have to think, it just does it for us. And Enduring Cry, because you never know when you need that survivability. Enduring Cry is really useful to have. In the sword, we've got Molten Shell, Cast when damage taken, and Blood Rage. Try and keep them aligned. Around 10 to 15 is good, because it means you don't have to take too much damage for it to pop. Divergent Pride is in my shield, and the reason why it gives you gives enemies negative damage reduction, similar to like Elemental Penetration. Vitality level 1, and I'll explain that very shortly. It's got to do with our Watcher's Eye and life on hit. Determination, I just got standard determination, no point doing anything else with that. In the chest, I've got Divergent Shield Crush. We want to use Divergent because we get, with every 1% of quality, we get crit multi, and we get 20 crit multi from this. Divergent Multi-Strike, because we get an extra 10% attack speed. This is a little more expensive. It's like I got this for like 1.3 Divine, but yeah, it depends on what people are selling it for. I think the average is like 1.5. Anomalous Rage. The reason why we want Anomalous Rage is when we get to 10% or 20 rage, we get a 10% increase attack speed. So 20 rage is pretty easy to get. We get a huge attack speed boost, which is really good on a jug, and that's where our attack speed comes from. Run normal impale. None of the modified or differential impales are worth it. Normal impale is fine. Awaken merely physical damage. Really good to have. Super powerful. And Awaken Brutality. This is just giving you straight up flat physical damage. Nothing more complicated, really easy. 5 red, 1 green. Really easy to chrome the brass dome to that too. In the gloves, I'm running Leap Slam, Ancestral War Chief, Multiple Totem Support, and Ancestral Protector. And I actually have a Val Ancestral War Chief, which I pop that through maps and just absolutely destroy shit. And then finally my boots, I'm running Berserk for when my rage generates up and I can pop Berserk. Reckoning with life on hit, because it's max block, I can get, you know, what is that, currently at 54 life every time Reckoning procs, and Reckoning's always proccing. And then Precision, we want to max out to get accuracy, which gives us attack speed and overall crit strike chance. Really good to have on this build. That's pretty much it for the gem setup. Super easy, really straightforward. Yeah, anyway, let's get into the skill tree. Okay, so this one's the fun part. So skill tree wise, so Ascendancies will start off with that. You're going to want to get Undeniable first, Unflinching second, Unbreakable third, and then Unrelenting fourth. And then beyond that, we're pretty much just going to come down from the starting zone, pick up the health nodes. Born to Fight is a significant node in this, and you're also going to want Versatility. Now, you don't have to get Diamond Skin straight away, but if you do, it's fine. This is level 93 tree, so it's pretty attainable. Then we come down, we get Unwavering, so we are stun immune. We can just walk through packs and not get stunned. The next node, you'll take the dual socket and eventually equip Seething Fury in there, and I have one with an implicit for cannot be poisoned or chance to avoid being poisoned. Then we come up and we pick up the rage nodes for Berserking, and we want to get the 40% increased melee damage while at close range. With Shield Crush, you're always at close range, so perfect mastery point. And then we get Constitution. Then we come down, we'll pick up both these proficiency and hard knocks areas. Solar Steel to give us increased max res, Determination, Reservation Efficiency, and you want to go all the way to Benjamin because this gives you a huge buff in defense and offense. And then the aura stacking, 8% increased damage per aura, because we do run 5 auras and we're going to run 6. So 8 times 6, pretty significant amount of damage. Then we want to come across and get Merciless Skewering because it gives us huge amounts of Impale. Then we'll come up, we'll grab Master of the Arena, Defiance, pardon me, Bravery, Art of the Gladiator, come down and get Golem's Blood, and then we want to come all the way down and get Retaliation and Shield Mastery, and we want to get the Crit Multi Mastery on this point, and then the dual socket here. Now in this dual socket, I do have a Watcher's Eye, and the reason why this is an important Watcher's Eye, at least for now, is gain 25 life on enemy hit while effective with Vitality, which means you only need to run a level 1 Vitality to inflict to gain 25 life per enemy hit, and we hit very fast, like 7.28 attacks per second. So we hit a lot of enemies, and including bosses, really useful to have with leech and regeneration on the side of that. Then we come down, we'll get this node down here, or this dual socket, but we'll talk about the clusters later. And then we'll get dismembering. This is going to increase our crit chance and also our crit multi. And then we want to come up and finally get steadfast and then fortify mastery. Once you get fortify, huge damage reduction as far as defenses from this. So damage reduction to you. Fortify is quite significant this league and definitely needed on this build to just absolutely go face on shit. Then we'll get Bloodless. We come up, we grab Aggressive Bastion. We'll get the 2% increased attack damage per armor because we've got a lot of armor on our shield. We've got 1800 on our shield, so we get a lot of percentage attack damage increase. Juggernaut. We'll come up, we'll get this dual socket here, and we're going to put a Blue Nightmare in here, and it needs to specifically be a Blue Nightmare in here. Now, if you don't get Blue Nightmare, you can get Blue Dream, which is a little cheaper, and that'll give you the ability to get your spell block up, but it also gives you power charges on kill. And if you just get a Blue Dream, you'll just get power charges on kill via the elemental resist node here. Then you'll come up and get Disemboweling. Pretty simple stuff. You want to go all the way around to get the maximum amount of crit out of it. Now, cluster jewels. The key cluster you're going to need, which is, I think, 2 divine I paid for mine. Fuel the Fight, Prodigious Defense, and Martial Prowess. Gives you accuracy, block, attack damage with a shield, attack speed, and mana leech. So you have leech, and this is where your leech is coming from. And then we've got a Replica's Conqueror's Efficiency. It's going to decrease the amount of costs of mana for your skills. Makes it sustainable. And then finally, we're going to get a Pressure Points and a Precise Retaliation bloody setup, and then pretty much the duel that you want to run is crit multi, intelligence, maximum life, and any other stats that you want. If you can get Impale, even better. That's it for the skill tree. Really straightforward skill tree. There's no like real branching out. There's a bit of big brain activity in here. I've not seen another Jug playing Shield Crush like this, by the way. This is different, and it fucking works too. Anyway, yeah, that's it for the skill tree. Okay, so Pantheons, as discussed, Soul of Lunaris and Soul of Aberith. If you're taking shit like Cyrus or Shaper or whatever, Soul of Arakali is really good to deal with damage over time effects. And yeah, that's it for that. Okay, so this might be like part 1 of, like many of my videos, part 1 of a build, just to see its progress, but it's pretty beefy right now. Now, where am I taking this? This is the tree that I'll put in. This is the target tree. So without Berserk, we get 12 mil DPS. And with Berserk, we got it right here. We got up to 17.7 mil. Now, where the damage is coming from here is obviously we add Dreadbanner in so we can run more auras. And it's quite significant. It's significantly significant. The way that we do that and the way that we balance the mana is we're actually running an All's Uprising with True Strike, but we really don't need True Strike. True Strike just increases crit. We could run Charisma and potentially run another aura, which would be even better, but whatever. And the other difference is we've added in a second medium cluster here, which gives us pressure points and basics of pain. And that's pretty much where our increased damage is coming from. Now, this one's level 97, so this is just accounting for these 4 sockets here. That's pretty much it. Now, if you were getting to that, you get to level 96, you could take that out, but you lose like 671,000. We're getting to big numbers at this stage. But I'll put this tree in the POB. There's not a huge amount of changes. Oh, and the other change is on the Watcher's Eye. So we do have Impales inflicted last 2 additional hits. There is a precision roll. This is like really best possible roll. I'd be targeting Impales inflict 2 additional hits with Pride and 25 life gain. And actually, we might change it to that just to make it a little more realistic, because that's somewhat more obtainable. So we only lose 400k with the precision roll. And yeah, so 25 life gain per hit with Vitality, and Impales, you inflict last 2 additional hits, which is a little bit expensive, but definitely worth it to get this build pumping. Anyway, if all the descriptions, all the links will be in the description. If you like this video, chuck me a like, chuck me a sub. Follow the Twitch. I've been streaming on Twitch. Super keen to grow that out. It's just easier to stream on Twitch. Just click one button, bam, you can stream without having to set up like thumbnails and all the rest of the shiz. Anyway, until next time, have a good one, and bye.